Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Saving Christmas series. We're near the end. We're working on now our main menu for our game, and we're also going to start thinking about what we can do for the final end screen as well when you win the game. So what we're going to do in here is going to do a couple of things that are a bit fancy. We're going to add a short title sequence with our studio logo before showing the title screen itself. Now I've imported in my UI elements. I've got my background buttons, my button hovered, the game logo, and a new font called Grinched. And I've also gone ahead and created a new map, putting a skylight, sky sphere, and a directional light into it, and putting my snow particle system in it as well. As you can see, I've also set up a camera ready to be the one that I'm going to be looking through this entire menu. So this setup is going to allow us to put a menu here on the screen, and because we're doing it in a three-dimensional space, it means the snow will fall between us and the menu itself, like the logos and so forth. Sorry. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a widget first of all, because we're going to do the title sequence. So user interface widget blueprint. We're going to go title sequence UI. And I'm going to open this up. Now, for our title sequence, I'm going to have my studio logo fade in and then fade out before it shows out the main menu for the player. So we're going to animate that in here. So first thing I'm going to do is set up my game studio logo here. So I'm going to drag an image into my canvas panel, and I'm going to click on my image and set the image to my imported icons here. So I've got a dark and a white. We'll see how they both look. Let's start with the dark transparency one, and I'm going to tell it to be size to content, like so, and you can see how it's going to look inside the screen. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to position it dead center of the screen. So I'm going to change my alignment here to 0.5 and 0.5, and I'm going to change its anchor to the center. On position X and position Y, I'm going to go 0 and 0, and now it's dead center of the screen. Now it's a bit too big for my liking, so we're going to change the size of that. So I'm going to change the image size here to something a bit smaller. We're going to go 500 by 500. Maybe a bit smaller still, we'll go 350 by 350. Okay, so there's our image for our logo. Now I'm also going to put some text beneath this as well. Again, we can just drag text in just like normal, so you can just drag some text into the field, and I'm going to type in name here, the name of my studio, Ryan Lady Games, and I'm also going to import my font that I'm going to have as well. So I've just imported my Lemon Milk font. So if I go into my font here, I can choose my font I want to use, which is this one, and I'm going to set the size to something a bit more what I want. Let's make it centered, and let's change the size of that there. I'm going to take the size to content so it fits it just fine. Change the alignment 0.5 to 0.5, the anchor to the center of the map of the screen, and you want 0, 0 the position, like so. Next, I want to drag it down, so position Y, we're going to increase to lower it, like so. So, I'm going to make these colours match. I'm going to tint them black. And this one, I'm going to tint black as well, or change the colour of it rather, to black. So there is our finished thing here. So, in total, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this actually all in, all inside a panel here. So I'm going to wrap with a vertical box and drag that into the same vertical box. Okay, so in there, we're going to tick the image here to be center and leave the rest as is. Okay, and that's pretty good. Now the reason why we want it in a panel is because we're going to tell that panel, the entirety of it, to be the thing that fades, and therefore it will fade all its contents as well. So we're going to get a new animation here, and we go title, studio logo, and we're going to open this up and look at its timeline. And we're going to go add track and choose the vertical box. There we go. Now with the vertical box added as a track, we can go and add a particular track for that vertical box. And I'm going to change its visibility, I think it is. No, not visibility. Track, it's render opacity. There you go, sorry. So render opacity, and we're going to set the keyframe of this quite fast. So let's say after 2.5 seconds we set a key. Sorry. And after that we're going to tell it to set key starts there. So let's set this one to 0. And this one we're going to drag out to something a bit further away. So let's say it takes, let's do 5 actually. There, so it sets from 1 to 0 in 2.5 seconds, so it goes there. We're then going to move it another 2.5 seconds, set another keyframe, and then go another 2.5 seconds out. Why can't I scale this along? There you go. Right mouse button. And we're going to drag this out and go to 10 seconds and add a keyframe there, changing this to 0. So the whole thing looks like this. 2.5 seconds and it starts to fade in, and then after 2.5 seconds it'll fade back out. Okay, so there is our animation. So to make it play at the start of that, we're going to go into the graph and look at its event construct. An event construct, we're going to tell it to play the title. So I'm going to drag in my studio logo animation in the variable list, which is get, and from there tell it to play animation. Okay, we're going to say only play once and go forwards. Click compile, and we're done there. Now we can also tell it what to do something when it's finished. So on Studio Logo here, if we right click and do finished on animation finished Studio Logo, we can now tell it to do something else. So this is when I'm going to tell it to fade in the game logo. So I'm going to duplicate my vertical box here and just switch out the image for the game logo. And change its tint back to white. And the image size here to 600 by 600. Maybe a bit bigger than that. Let's try 800. Okay. We don't need the Ryan Lady text, we can get rid of that. And what we're going to do is we're going to make this have a new animation as well. So click on the vertical box. Actually, let's click on the image here. Actually, do we need a vertical box? We don't actually need a vertical box. Let's drag the image outside the vertical box. And delete that. There we go. So I'm just going to tell this image to size the content and put it into the center of the screen. Center it, reset the position there, and alignment 0.5, 0.5. Okay, so there's that image. So I'm going to name this one game logo. And we're going to create a new animation for this. I'm going to do this game logo. Animation. Okay, so this one is going to be a new track on this one. So we've got a new track and we do game logo. And on this track, we're going to add the render opacity. And we're going to make it go from 0 seconds, sorry. We're going to make it go from there to, let's do 1. So the key at 1 is going to be at a value of 1, and the key at 0 is going to be a value of 0. So it fades in quite nicely. We're also going to make it a bit more oomph by making it change its scale as well. So on game logo again, new track, and we want to change its transform, and the transform in the scale in particular. So I'm going to add another keyframe here on the scale. And we're going to make scale in the X equal to 1 there. And then at start, we'll make it equal to 0.3. And same for the Y, 0.3. So you get this animation effect. Okay. Not too bad. Obviously, I think it might be a bit too slow. So let's speed up a bit. So if I drag this down to here, drag this here, let's see how that looks. Okay, not bad. Now I'm going to give it some bounce to it, so it sort of like elasticates a little bit. So after the frame here, I'm going to tell its scale to go to add a keyframe for it. For these scales, we're going to go 1.2, and here 1.2. We're then going to add another keyframe after that, and set them back to 1. Let's see how that looks. Okay, just space it apart a little bit. Like so. Not bad. Okay, so we've got that there, and then we go from 1 to 1.1 here. So add a keyframe for each of those. Select them. Go 1.1, 1.1, and then one frame after that. Set the keyframes again. 1 and 1. Let's see how that looks. You got a sort of elasticated effect. Cool. So we've got that done. You're going to compile that and go into the graph. So when the studio logo animation is finished, we're going to grab our game logo animation, get, and tell this one to play animation as well. And hit compile. Okay, so once we've done that, we need to tell this thing to add to the screen. So I'm going to do this in my level blueprint. And on begin play, we're going to create widget. And we're going to choose the class title sequence and add to viewport. So that's that done. Next, we're going to take it to process the camera. Okay, so we need to get a reference to the camera. So we have it selected, and in your blueprint, right click and create reference to camera. We also want to get the player controller. And set the view target for this to be this camera. Leaving the blend at 0, so it will go straight to that. Okay, close that. And then go to my world settings and make sure I've got game mode set to none. Okay, let's click play. Okay, so we've got a slight bug there. Well, we've got two bugs. We've got the logo appearing, and we've still got the other animations all still appearing as well. Animation UIs as well. So let's first of all fix the title sequence. So my title sequence, my game logo animation shouldn't be playing. So I'm going to go and change my game logo and set its default opacity somewhere. Where is it? And opacity 0. Yeah, that's correct. It should be still 0. Why is that still showing then? The animations work, but for some reason it's still showing at the start. Right, I'm going to tell this one to start at 0. There we go. That's it. I had the wrong one selected. I had to select it in the hierarchy. So now when I push play, it's blank. The studio logo appears. And after that fades, the game's logo will appear. Okay. So next job is to make it so it doesn't spawn Santa and his UI into the game as well. Okay, so go into your world settings and change the game mode override to the base game mode, so just game mode. Now when you play it, it doesn't do any of the stuff that you want that you originally would do. It'll just spawn what you want to spawn. Okay. So once that animation is played, we're going to tell it to wait a little bit and then spawn the buttons. Now the buttons are going to be another menu. So I'm going to go ahead and create the buttons widget as a separate widget blueprint. We'll go buttons, menu. We're going to then add that and create the button. I'm going to set its anchor to the center of the screen, alignment 0.5, 0.5, reset the position to 0, 0, and we're going to change the size to be 800 in the X. Or maybe not 800, let's try that to be 500, that's better, and a size of 100 in the Y. We're then going to change the position in the Y down, so it moves it at the bottom, like so. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to change the style of my button by going to normal, expand it open and choosing an image. And you choose my button background. We're going to make sure it's drawing it as a box and that its margin is set to, let's do a higher value, let's do 0.4 there. Okay, and you get a button like so. Next, we're going to scroll down further to the hovered section and choose the button hovered, which you add some holly to the edges of it, and change the margin to 0.4 there. If you want to see what that hovered one's going to look like, I can simply just change this one over here to the hovered, and you can see how it's going to look in the game. Add this holly around it when it's hovered by the mouse. So I'm just going to change that back to the normal one, like so. So let's add some text into there now. So drag some text in, and I'm going to change the font to my Grinched font. I'm going to change the size of it a little bit, like that, and call it play. Okay, let's do start game. Start game, and hit compile. So this button is going to be called start button, and also going to do a quit button as well. So I'm going to duplicate this and call it quit button, and change the position of that down further. Position of the X is 0, position of Y, I'm going to just tweak that so it's below, like so. I'm going to change the size of this one to be 350, so it's smaller, and we'll call the text in there and call it quit. tweaking the font to a size that's smaller, so it doesn't overbear on the rest of it. Okay. Okay, we're going to click compile, and we're going to we're going to go start game button, make sure it's selected, scroll right down, and choose the on clicked event add. On there, we're going to go to open level, and here you want to type in the name of the level you want to go to first, and in our case here, it's called just level 1. Compile that, and then go on the quit button, on clicked for that, and toast one to quit game. Again, hit compile and close. Now I've head back to my UI and look at my title sequence. Go to my graph. So Studio Logo 1 is going to play, and then it's going to stop and then play the animation for the game logo. Then we're going to do the same thing we did here. So select the game logo animation, right click, finished, and you want animation finished game logo animation. And in there, we're going to delay by, I don't know, let's do 2 seconds. Okay. And then tell it to create widget, buttons menu, and then add that to viewport. And hit compile. So let's see what that looks like in game. So the logo will appear for the game studio, followed then by the logo for the game, and then the buttons. And if I hover over the buttons, I have to show the mouse, that would help. Let's go back to my buttons menu, and we're going to tell it, so when this spawns on the construct here, we're going to get player controller and tell this to set input mode to UI only. Plug that in, and then we're going to go from player controller and set show mouse cursor and hit the true. Now when we hit the start button, we also want to tell the player controller to change its input mode back to game. So I'm going to put the player controller back down here, set input mode to game only, and then tell the mouse cursor to hide by getting set show mouse cursor and leaving it false. Hook that all together, and there you have a working menu. Let's test that out in game. We've got the logo followed by the game logo, and then the buttons. And now my mouse cursor is showing, and I can hover over each of them and see the holly. Hit start game, and there you go. Yeah, so there is our game intro and menu. Now what we're going to do is on the next episode go through the end credit sequence for the game, so we can end the game and successfully congratulate the player. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.